It's live stream time. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another Inkarnate live stream, and we're doing City Blocks Part 2. Yes, I'm excited about this. And we're going to spice it up a little bit too as well, because I think some people had requested how does you apply these city blocks to an actual city. So I'm going to go ahead and just change up this stream to make it a little bit different from the last one, so that it will be a bit easier to kind of apply this to an already shaped landscape. So we'll do that, okay? Hey, Cyberwolf, Cheryl, yeah, awesome. Sweet, I'm super excited about this stream. City blocks are fun, and it's generally when you're putting your whole city together, you're going to be putting your city together block by block by block. So when you're making a large city, that's the process. You'll go in, you'll probably create a central point, whether it's going to be a castle, a cathedral, a large market, a temple, whatever, and then you'll just start creating blocks and blocks and blocks. So this stream is to kind of help you to try to learn how to put blocks together. And just so you know, about most cities, most of your blocks will be residents, so you only have to worry about making more detailed blocks when it comes to blocks that have maybe a smithing quarter, a mage's quarter, the theater district, parliament district, the market area, parks, an elite area, dockyard. So the majority of your city is going to be residents. And so that part is fairly easy because there's tons of just plain blocks that you can just place down, okay? So now in the last stream, we put together basically two of them, a blacksmith shop in a snowy region, and then we also made a mage's quarter. But someone in the stream had mentioned to me, had asked, well, how is it that you apply this to when you're actually making the city? So what I'm going to do is quickly make some landscape in these 6 panels and just connect all these blocks together. So that way they're all like 6 sections of a actual city. Okay, so I'll put that together. So that will make it easier, because people were saying, well, they can't copy and paste these blocks into their city. So instead, I'll create a little bit of landscape and we'll build the blocks in there. So this is already all on the BG layer. So I'll go ahead and take the add mode of the mask tool with the edgy brush. And already I have a dockyard here, so it's very clear that this section right here should probably have water. So I'll go ahead and create a water section. First, I'll make a decent amount of water. And maybe there's an elite section that's right there as well. And we'll change mask settings. So I'm creating a little bit of landscape so that it's easier to kind of figure out when you're putting your blocks together, because it's really simple. It's a little too easy to try to just put these little blocks and then make a block in it. How do you apply it to the overall picture? Hello, Rubalax, welcome, glad that you're here. Okay, let's go in here and just put a little bit of water in there as well. Let's see here. Okay, let's add in a little boat section maybe for our elites, so they have like a little boat section where they go out like this. And I think I'm actually going to use the add mode with the square brush or square rectangle, and I'm going to create kind of a artificial channel that's used for boats to go out. Okay, so let's press enter. There we go. Okay, so now you have this artificial channel. We can put some docks there. There's a theater district here, and I'm not even gonna, these 2 right here, just kind of ignore these, but these 6 panels right here we're gonna end up using, okay? All right, let's go ahead and also paint our water, change some of the change some of the mask effects. All right, one moment. Let's just stick with this one for now. Oh wait, that's snow. Let's go with water instead. Let me type it in. Probably be a little better. There we go. Lots of choices with water. It's the FG layer that I'm working with here, so I'll go ahead and paint some water here, and it looks like I might want to change some of the mask effects, so let's go ahead and do that real quick as well. Inner shadow, we'll make that white. It'll be on the outside. Just one moment. I'll make the blur bigger and then change the size and the opacity. There we go. Okay, keep going. All right, that looks okay. Let's increase the distance just a little bit more. I think that looks fine. And let's go with an inner shadow or outer shadow that's going to be either a yellow color or maybe a brownish color. Let's take a look here. Okay, let's drop the opacity. And let's bring the size down just a bit. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. Let's see how we're going here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. Now that we've made those changes, we can now it'll be a bit more easier. So we'll be able to create the Dockyard block with some landscape as well. Okay. So I hope that helps. Howdy, Joyanne. Welcome. Awesome. Glad to have you here. Okay. So let's start with a theater district, and we're going to create roads first. So and I'm also going to show you a hill technique that I use, and you don't have to use it. You'll notice that we're kind of using this stamp right here as kind of a hill, but there's a lot of hard lines and it doesn't create the subtle kind of soft hill that you're making. So I'll show you how to make some soft hills. That's a little bit of painting, a little bit of drawing, but it's not too complex and it's very simple. So with the theater district, before I put my streets down, I think with this one, what I'll do is, well, no, I should put my streets down first. And I'll use the path tool to do that. I'm just going to place a path down first and make it the settings that I want. So probably remove the shadow. Okay. And I'll bring down the opacity, I think. There we go. Quite a bit. There we go. Okay. And I might even change the blend mode. We'll just see how it interacts with the textures. I think just normal actually works just fine. Okay, so I'm gonna, now that I've picked the path that I want for my road, we should make a main carriageway. Now what a main carriageway is it's the main route that goes through each kind of district, and your carriageway is probably going to lead straight to the most important point on the map. So it could be where your castle is, where your temple is, and it's probably going to lead to a gate. So if your city has walls, there are multiple gates. Main carriageways are going to go from those gates to your most important points of interest on your city. Okay, so let's put down our main carriageway first. And the main carriageway can also lead to a dockyard as well, whether it's a private dockyard for a lord, whether it's a main one that goes to an elite's quarter, whether it goes just to the regular dockyard or to a market. So we have to decide all that first. Let me first just take a look. I'm going to have one at the dockyard, so that you can have as many carriageways as you want. It's up to you, but there's like a main thoroughway, and then all the other little branches that go off will go off of that main route. So I'll start here at the dockyard maybe, and this is subject to change. It's okay if it changes. For now, that's just the main route. We'll create more routes as we go, and I think even making it straight lines will be better. And we do have the segments, because we're zoomed in, and at this scale, when you're doing a city, most of your roads will be straight or be at a very calculated curve. Okay, so but if you're like zoomed out doing a world map, of course your roads are going to be a bit more windier, and you don't have to do that when it's this close a scale. And in fact, I think it might be easier to just I'll do one block at a time and then create a main thoroughway, because I have something to work with first. Changing my mind. Yes, this is Watercolor Cities. Okay, bring some coffee. First, I will create, I'm going to show you this. I was going to do a road, but I want to show you a technique on how to make hills that are a little bit more softer. And it requires the path tool and some painting, but they don't take very long to make. Actually, they're pretty easy. So let's quickly just show you this hill technique that I'm going to show you. We'll change the width. You want it pretty small. And let's see here, about that width. Okay. So the first thing that I like to do is create the top of the hill. And all you have to do is just start with a path like this. This is the top of the hill, okay? From there, you're going to take a flat line, and you're just going to create lines that protrude away from the line like this. They don't take too long. You can even take one line, copy and paste it. I'm just pressing escape after each time I put down a line, and this is highly stylized, by the way. So, and you don't have to do this. You can use the hills straight from straight from the catalog stamps. That's fine. Go for it. But I thought I'd showcase a different style that requires a little bit of drawing. It's not much. It's just line work. Doesn't take too long. Okay. Now that you've put it all together, you can just group the whole thing. And of course, if you have a group, make sure that you probably label it as well, okay? Let's see, where are you? Where's my group? There it is. I'm going to call it Hill. And the beauty of this is that you can make multiple hills with this. So you can copy and paste it, make it smaller, rotate it. What I would do is probably make like 4 or 5 of these hills with different sizes and variations, and then put them off to the side, group them all, label them, and then you can throw them on throughout the whole map. So it's very useful. All right, so I'll first show you the technique for shading, because you'll have to do, again, just a little bit more coloring and a little bit more shading to make it work. Yes, label your groups, especially if you have like 80 groups. You'll be like, oh my God, you have to single click each group to find out which one is the right one. You want to maintain sanity, you not want to go bald early at a young age, I recommend you do that, okay? All right, so now the next step, once you've created this, is to make the coloring, because right now it just looks flat, right? Now the texturing is way easier than you think. You think it'd be like kind of complex and difficult, but it's not actually. All you need to do is take this same texture that's beneath it, okay? So I'm going to take this texture right here. Let me just verify that is the proper texture first. Oh, no, that's not the right one. Which one is it? Where are you? Let me go in here and I'll find the right one. It might be this one. Let me check. I think this is the one. Yeah, okay. Let me just double check. Oh, no, that is not the right one. Which one did I use? I know it's here somewhere. I'll find it. Nope. Where are you? Oh my goodness. I don't know which one I used. Shoot. Okay, well, I'll just have to pick one then. Let's just go with this one, and I will just use the grid tool. Fill in the whole thing. Okay. Once you have that texture, the ground texture, once you finally find it, next you're going to go to your advanced settings and you're going to edit it a bit, okay? The first thing you'll want to do is change the brightness, because what we're going to do is we're going to create the shadow side of the hill. So you have to decide where your light source is, okay? So understanding the light source is not difficult. Just use the stamp tool to make an arrow that kind of represents where your light source is going to be. So let's say the light source is this way, facing towards this part of the hill, okay? Now you've got that dark texture, you're going to want to drop the opacity down quite a bit. Around 37 should be fine. And bring the size down to where it, with a circle brush, so it rings around it. So first we'll do a single pass. We'll go around it. Oopsie, I forgot. Let's increase the softness. You want to have your softness up. Do one pass. See, that's a little too much, actually. Let's go down to 30. And let's bring the size up a little bit more. There we go. Oopsie, that's a little too big. So you're going to do one pass around. First like this. This is your ambient inclusion, basically. This is to show that there's at least some depth here. You see how it's lighter in the center? Boom, pops up. But that's not enough. Now you have to add more shading. So if the light is going this way, we'll make it darker all along here, okay? And we can even add even darker, make it even darker, okay? And then you can also add in your shadow of the hill, okay? There's your shadow. Next step, use that same texture. Now, I would recommend that you save this to your favorites, that dark texture, how you changed it, because after a certain number of recently used textures, that will go away. So make sure you favorite it. That's right here, favorites. It's right there, just nice and snug in there for you. And you're going to take that same texture, and now you want to take your filters and increase the brightness a little bit. Okay? Now, once you've done that, just apply that bright texture. Let's go even brighter than that, or you just increase the amount. And in the center, go ahead and just apply a light texture on the top, just like that. Now, if you want, you can accentuate different peaks, so you can just have the light be on the top like that, and then another one here like that if you wanted to. But I'm just going to do the whole center, just the whole thing. And it's really just as simple as that. You're really just using three variations of the same texture. And that's it. I mean, that's really as simple as it goes. Now, of course, if you're going to do all these by hand, it will be time consuming. Of course, that's why you just want to make a variation of like 5 of them and then copy and paste each one in the right position. And then you'll have to paint each one by hand. So for the time being, until we have some kind of tool that can make this, this is the workaround for the time being, okay? So now that we've applied that, you can now apply to put some stamps down. I'm going to lock this because I don't want to accidentally select it. And so I have this more subtle hill with my shadows, super nice. Now I can go in and I can decide to pick the stamp that I want. So this is a theater district. Okay, now if it's a theater, we're going to think about a stamp that pops out. You can think of maybe some theaters you've seen, like the Paris Opera House. There's a couple famous opera houses out there. And it will be kind of hard to kind of pick which stamp you think would work best for that. So we'll go, I think this kind of medium noble roof right here. It's got some nice towers right here, a dome. Kind of reminds me of an opera house, and maybe we can go with a gold color instead. And I want to check the scale just to make sure. I guess just wondering what these ones are at. They're at 100. Okay, that's fine. We can also scale this up, and in fact, we can make a second hill real quick. This is gonna be fun. So we'll put the opera house down, and we'll put it right here. We'll have it facing away from the ocean. I'm gonna put it right here, and I'm gonna make a second hill that's resting on top of to give it extra height. So I'll just take that same path that I used. I'm just going to open up this path right here. One moment. Uh-oh. Did I lock my path? I must have. I did. There we go. I want to choose that this particular path. Okay, and now I want to make my second hill. I'm going to put it just going around like this. Really as simple as that. And then I'm going to add in some real quick lines like this. And you're going to do that same technique of painting. And it's going to add more depth to it. So we'll do another one. Style that I see, I think some of the official D&D maps use this style of hills. And there's a couple artists, and I can't remember all of them that use it. There's a couple. And so I'm just kind of basing it off of other styles that I've seen. I don't want to take credit for this or anything like that. So other people have done this. I also want to make sure that I save this one as well. Okay, and let's save that one. There we go. Use that darker texture, bring it down to 30 something. We'll bring the size down. And again, that first pass and ring. Remember where that light source is. So paint that side of the hill, and then don't forget to include its shadow, like this. Didn't take too long. Okay, let's add another one in there, make it a little bit darker. There we go. And if you want, you can even paint here some of that shadow as well. Okay, and make sure that whatever, if you're using an object shadow or a layer shadow, you change the layer shadow so that they're facing in the proper direction. Okay, I can see the shadows are going this way as well as the light source. Mike Schley, yeah, that sounds correct. All right, so now that I've done that, I think the painting looks fine. Let's continue on. So already we have some staircases, and this is where the main opera house is. The second tier down, where this level is, below it, that second part, the lower part of the hill, we're probably going to want to put in housing or domiciles for actors, for the directors, maybe some acting schools, things like that, smaller theaters, little tiny theaters, street theaters, things like that. Those are the things I would expect in a theater district. So the main piece is the main opera house where people go. And I'm going to continue on the staircase. So I'll go down and make the staircase go all the way down, down the hill. Let's go like this one. Let me check to make sure. I'm going to go up a layer. I want to make sure all my paths are actually a layer below. So all your paths should be at layer -5. So that way no stamps are underneath them. And same thing with that group that we labeled hill. we want to make sure that's at layer -5. You don't want any stamps below that. This is part of the terrain, so it should be the very furthest layer below you, okay? Now that we've done that, we can probably make the main carriageway. And again, I'm going to use the path tool for that because it's just quicker. That way I don't have to repaint it. And that makes life easier for me. I mean, you can totally paint if you want, but I'm going to use the path tool because it's just easier. So I'll boost it up, use white. And then I don't think I need any shadows, but I will bring the opacity down. Okay. So let's take this path right here. It leads like that, right? And I think what we'll do is we want to also make a where the entrance is going up to the other part of the hill. And we want to think that in relation to the main carriageway. So there could be a couple ways to get through the district. You could just go right up the steps, leading right up to the district, going this way. So there's like a path going this way. And of course, that leads to the other ones. There could be multiple ways to get up. Let's say we move one over here. There's one entrance going up and another entrance going over here, maybe a side entrance that leads to the path going to these other districts, okay? Now that you've set up those ways to get up that part of the hill, now you can apply your main thoroughway leading up. So if you wanted to, oops, I need to fix that path. I must have accidentally selected. My mistake. All right, bring that down width. Ah, the beauty of having to do things over again. Okay, so we'll have a main carriageway kind of going this way and right there, and then also a second pathway that might lead up to here to like a center part. So maybe right here there's like a square, maybe there's a fountain right here. And if the path tools are all overlapping, I think there is a blend mode that can change that. Let me just verify which blend mode that was. One moment, please. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it's hue. Yeah, I think it's hue. Let me try hue. Yeah, it is hue. I think that's correct. Can I change the color? Let me see what color I can change it to. You know, I think this is just fine right here. Now it won't, no matter what the opacity it is, it shouldn't show. At least I don't think so. It should be the same. Yeah, it is hue. Good call. All right. Now that you've done that and you've created the little carriageways, now you can take that same path with the same settings and make your smaller routes, right? You can make a bigger one though and have it go over here, so it kind of leads over like this. And then from there, you can create your smaller routes by just bringing the width size down. Let me just see what that looks like. A little bit small. Let's go with that. There we go. And now you can create your branching streets. So if you want, you can have a branching route that loops and then connects into here. And you've created some negative space there. Let's have another one that kind of loops out this way. And then maybe another one that goes around the hill like this and kind of leads over to here like that. And maybe this path continues on like this as a small path kind of going this way and out like that, okay? And so now that you have your negative space, and your negative space again is basically wherever there's not road, okay? So these sections right here are basically your negative space, these sections. And you can work with these sections to put in whatever you want, gardens, flowers, residents, buildings. That is how you go with it first. So putting down all those streets allows you to create negative space, and then you can work with that negative space. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete those paths. Oopsie, I don't want to do that. Let's just delete the ones I don't want. I don't need you. Oops, not that one. You and you. Now we had mentioned the main thing, so here's that main one. The next one we probably want to put down maybe a smaller theater. So you could say this is like a small theater that's, let's see here, maybe a small theater right here. It's not very big. It's just a small theater for people to go and use. And I'm going to change my shadows a little bit. Those are a bit dark. There we go. All right. And I might even want to choose a darker brown color because I am using a brown here. So let's go over to here and bring the opacity down just a bit. There we go. Just a main get some continuity there. So we have a main theater right here. And maybe we want to create some smaller houses that go around. Now you can stick with the same color scheme if you want and add some small houses with red, or you can change the color to whatever you want, okay? But for now, I'm just gonna make some small residential buildings, and these are basically where people, this is basically where the housing for the actors is. And you can maybe add a larger house right here to kind of represent where maybe some directors live, and stuff like that. So continue adding in some more housing here around there. And maybe we can go with a different block. There's these ones right here, which I think are a little more oddly shaped, but they might fit in a little bit better. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and add one in. I think that one might do. No, I don't think so. A bit too funky there. Nope, let's just stick with smaller ones, okay? And we'll just keep adding some smaller ones in. Here we go, one here. So we have some housing here. And we're going to put a courtyard inside of here. So I'll show you how to put those together. Let's keep adding just more and more housing for much of the actors. Maybe another house for a director or whatever. And then we can put in some smaller things in here. Why don't we add in something special? So maybe there's like a guild or something, like an actors guild. So let's just use this same kind of design right here. And we'll go ahead and throw in like an actors guild, and we'll have it be right across from the square where we're going to put like a fountain and stuff like that. Hey, Bigfoot, welcome. Glad you're here. So this right here is like the Actors Guild. And then from there, maybe we can throw in some more details. So once you've added in most of the negative space, and we can add in a couple more things right here, actually. Let's add in a few more houses. So we have some of that negative space used. Okay. So we have that. Now, once you put in your major structures and stuff like that, and we might even want to consider adding in a couple more around here. So we'll maybe get to that. So let's get that started. Let's put in a couple outbuildings. So maybe a section for maybe some actors to stay the night. Maybe we can put in a small building over here for an annex in the back. Okay, and then maybe a small building right here in the front, maybe a ticket office or ticket booth, you don't know, right? So lots of different options. So now that we've added in all the city, all the little blocks, we can go, or the little buildings, we can go in and throw in details. Details include lanterns, garden spaces, a well, fountains, statues, trees, topiary, all that stuff, okay? So let's go in and throw in a fountain, as you would expect. So we got a nice fountain right here, and we can put it, there's a circular one that looks nice, so we'll put that circular one right there, like that. Looks like the shadow work is a little off too. Let's bring this in a little bit more. I don't want too much. Go out just a couple. And go down a little bit. There we go. So now you have your fountain. Does anyone have any questions so far about where we're at? Please feel free to ask. So we got a fountain right here. That would be kind of nice. Now for outbuildings, what I like to use is a very simple, there's some simple little shacks right here, and these are great for outbuildings. I mean, they're just fantastic, and it's great for filling in negative space. You'll notice that there is still lots of open space here, and I did that on purpose. I don't want to cram it too much. Now, when it comes to residents, you might want to cram buildings nice and close, especially in your more impoverished neighborhoods where people have to work where they have to stack up with tenants, more and more people to pay these rents, and they're really kind of shabby and everything like that, you know, landlords and all that fun stuff. So, but with this theater district, it's okay to open it up. It's supposed to be more aesthetic. It's supposed to be more beautiful. So throw in a couple outbuildings. Now these can represent a couple things. They can be an outhouse. They could be a shed. They could be a barn. It could be a workshop. It could be a tool shed. It could be a small market shop. It could be anything you want. So, but I use them for all those reasons, and they generally are very, very helpful just for filling in negative space. So I want to put in a couple of these, and I filled in that negative space, and you always expect a variety of different structures, right? Different sizes and stuff. So I'll just start with these square ones because I really like these. Some of these might represent some housing for people, maybe some small domiciles for students to stay in. That's what these little shacks can represent. So let's throw in a couple here like this. And then let's throw a couple more in here. So a couple of these, and then let's throw in these square ones like this, okay? Let's throw in, let's see, over here we can put one shed over here. And I noticed that these staircases are massive, so I will have to rescale them, of course. It happens. I'm sure some of you are wondering, wait a minute, dude, whoa, what? Why are these stairs so massive? Some rescaling, I'd say. It happens. There we go. Bring the scale down. Much better. There we go. Naughty, naughty. Why did you make it so big? Scale. Ah, so much fun. There we go. So we've added some stairs there. Make that correct. Oh, I missed one. In fact, what I can do is just take these three right here and copy paste and move them and rotate them. There we go. Done. Perfect. Okay. And you know what? Since it's in the shadow side, I should probably drop the brightness down just a little bit. This one can bring the brightness down just a hair. It is slightly in the shadow side. There we go. Okay. Now, any buildings that are going to be in the shadow of your hill, make sure you drop the brightness just a hair, okay? All right. Let's keep adding a couple more of these shacks, whatever they're going to act as. They can be any number of things. Make sure you don't stack them up. You still want to create a little bit more negative space for trees, lamps, and other things. So don't add in so much to where there's not enough room to add in your shrubbery. Okay? I mean, if you're going to cut down a tree with a herring in the woods, you're going to probably need some negative space, okay? You will go into the forest, you will find the largest tree, and you will cut it down with a herring. All right, there we go. So we've added that stuff in there. And there's a couple more things. Now we can kind of add in some, we can add in even smaller details, like tables, benches, crates, barrels, carts. Now the details about what to put down, those smaller items, depend upon the block. So because this is a theater district, it's supposed to be somewhat aesthetic. We can probably take some benches and line them around so that we have some seating arrangement so people can sit and enjoy the beautiful fountain space. There's one. We can also include some crates and barrels, perhaps in the theater district area. Maybe there's some supplies. Maybe they're going to have a show tonight, and these supplies are there for whether or not they're going to have a feast right after the show. Maybe maybe these are the crates that have the supplies for props. I mean, there's a whole number of things that you might need crates and barrels for. So we'll throw them in here just kind of randomly in front of a few things, and now your little negative space fills out even more, right? Let's add in a couple randos here, add in a couple here, maybe put a rando over here. Oh yeah, throw in those randos. All right, sweet. We'll add in a couple right here and along this street as well. Okay, let's put one there. Yeah, looks good. And of course, maybe some by the Opera House near some of these outbuildings right here. So we'll throw in a couple around here. And of course, some of those smaller outbuildings as well here. Let me make sure I got the size right. There we go. And we'll throw in a couple right here. And maybe one more over here. Sweet. Over here. Okay. I think I'm going to move this because I want the center, I want the front to be more aesthetic. It's an opera house, so you'd expect maybe some fountains on the side, some statues, some beautiful shrubbery, right? Now, before you put down any of your trees, I actually like to paint in some grass, some garden spaces. I like to do that. So you pick a texture that you like. It doesn't have to be soft. It can be a hard brush if you want it to. It is at a far distance, so a hard brush works fine, or a soft brush works fine. It's really up to you. So if I wanted this to be like a whole grassy kind of area like this, like a lawn in the backyard, something like that, you can paint in your green. Now don't do anything yet. Just paint in all your little green areas next. So I might want to make a couple green spots right here so I can put some shrubbery there. Okay, maybe I want to add in some green right here. There's a nice lawn here. maybe I want to have a little grassy section here, maybe some grass in this section over here, maybe even a runner of grass going along the edge here. You can do the same right here if you want, okay? Let's keep adding those. Let's just keep adding some grass here. Maybe it will connect a little bit here. There we go. At least the front should have some grass, I would think, right? Now, once you've added in the grass part, now you can line your lawn areas with maybe some bushes. It's like framing, right? Maybe you don't like those edges. Maybe it looks weird, but by framing, you kind of give it a little bit more character. So you will have to resize it. This is obviously massive, so you'll have to make them kind of small. Let's go with a little bit bigger, maybe 15. And all you're going to do is just go around like this. And I don't recommend actually making the whole thing. Miss a couple spots. Miss a couple spots and make some space in between. And the reason why you're doing that is because people have to get into that lawn. Maybe they want to walk into it. Maybe there's a fountain there, a well there. If it's all cordoned off by bushes, they're going to have to pole vault over it. No one wants to pole vault over the arborvitae to get to their well, okay? They want to get to a path that leads to the well, right? I mean, unless you like pole vaulting to your water source, I mean, that kind of sounds fun, but I hope there's something on the other end to help your fall, okay? All right, so we'll go in and we'll just continue ringing some of these. Well, now, not every single one of them has to be ringed, but I'm going to do that because I just really like the look. I think it really adds character to it. Who doesn't like a nice pole vault after a jaunt in the morning? Whee! Oh, honey, will you fetch me some water from the well? Oh, of course. Hand me the pole. Let's do it. Yeah, no, it doesn't work for me. Oh, look at these some random bushes here. Just floating off into space here. Where did you come from? Okay, let's keep ringing our grass areas. Nice, there we go. Keep going. We're going to ring around this one. And you can also throw in some large trees because if all your vegetation is the same size, it's going to look kind of weird. So make sure that you also throw in some rando trees as well. And I'll be sure to do that. So just first, let's keep adding in our ringing of trees. Yeah. Let's take a step back and see how it looks. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Where are we at for changes? 326. Yikes. Jack and Jill 2.0. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, drink some more coffee. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you're ready for the weekend. I am most definitely, emphatically, very excited for the weekend. Hey, dragons, dreams, and squirrels. Woo! Yeah. Hey, Buzzoga. Glad you're here as well. Okay, we've saved it. Now we can kind of move on to the next part, which is to adding in some trees. And we will do more roads as well. The beautiful thing about doing the main routes first is that now you can just throw in little tiny routes leading to those other areas if you want. But first, we'll throw in some trees because when all the shrubbery is the same size, all your greenery is the same size, it looks kind of odd. So it's nice to throw in maybe like a large tree in this courtyard. Maybe you want a couple trees in the front right here, one there, and maybe another one the same size right there. Just make sure that it's a layer above your bushes. Obviously a bush is not nearly as tall as a tree, so it would be kind of weird if there's just a rando bush hanging out on the top of your tree. Hello, Mr. Bush, or Madam Bush, what are you doing there? Right? So make sure that that your trees are a layer above, okay? And I'm also going to turn off random rotate's fine, and maybe throw in 3 of the same bush by here like this, or trees like that, throw in one here. So you have this ring of trees that goes in the front, and that really kind of gives the front of the entrance, the front side of this a little bit more pizzazz. And I might even want to consider taking this this building right here, this top one, kind of huge, this one right here, and scale it down because the line work is so thick. So I'll have to come up with a better way to kind of create my theater. And one way that you can do that is just by placing some stamps onto it to create wings. That's the beautiful part about it. So if I wanted to, I could just take this piece right here and take another piece right from it like this and just put it right in the front like that, or put it off to the side. There's different variations. Maybe I can find a larger one and then maybe put this one on top. That's the beauty of making your own. You can make your own buildings, and it can look really interesting if you do it right. So first, let's just do it this way. I'll put a larger one right here, and then I'm going to take a second one like this and then put it in the back and then below it, and I'll stack it so it looks like it's one large building. So it's always fun to kind of stack some buildings together to make a much larger building. Just make sure that you have this. If there's any staircases, you always want to make sure that they are facing towards your road, right? If you turn it around like this, there's not really an indication that there's a staircase going up, and you'll notice that it's on the other side there. So just be mindful when you're putting together, when you're stacking pieces like this, so that way you do it correctly. And we can even add more. We can add another wing to it. You can put a staircase that maybe leads to a little courtyard in the back if you want. So we can bring a staircase right here like that. And if you want, you could put a little garden right here or a pond. Okay, so that's another great thing to add, is to add some water. Let's make a little pond with a footpath going around it. And that way we can add a little bit more detail, okay? So we'll just take this dark blue. In fact, let me look at the blue of the ocean. That's fairly dark, so let's go with a lighter blue because it's not going to be as shallow, or it's not going to be as deep as the ocean. A pond will be much shallower, so let's go with a lighter blue. Make sure you turn the softness off on this. Pick that size that you want and make it relatively small so that way there's room for a path to go around the pond. Okay, there's this one. We'll make a nice, bean-shaped pond. There we go. Nice. You have a pond right there in the back. I'm going to select this path right here. I'm going to bring the size down. It's a footpath. There's not going to be a whole lot of traffic. So I'm going to make the path go around here and go around this like this, and then it leads right back. Or you can have it go like this, have it connect right here, and then go to this part right here. So you can do that. So you have a nice path that goes around that. And of course, you can always line your pond with a little bit of some trees going around it. And it can be on both sides of the path. I do like to line some of my paths with bushes. And the reason why I do that is because I can distinguish the main thoroughway from the little back alley streets. So if you take this main carriageway, the main route, it's always fun to just line it with some bushes so that way it kind of shows that this is kind of the main route. There's no need to put some nice finery, shrubbery, and bushes along these little tiny side roads. It actually makes more sense to put them along the main routes, okay? Because those are the routes that are most traveled, the most traffic, okay? Even this one right here can have a little bit of it because I feel like it should have just a little bit around this route. Okay, keep going, keep going. Any questions so far where we're at here? Feel free to ask any questions. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and save at 65 changes, and I'll continue to add a little bit more things, you might want to consider adding. The coffee in the morning. It wake me up because I sleepy. All right, fun stuff. Okay, now one thing that I always find kind of frustrating is that there isn't much transition between these buildings right here and the texture beneath it. So for me personally, I always like to take a somewhat of a dark texture, which is soft brush, and I like to go underneath my buildings and put a darker texture underneath. Now there are a couple of reasons for this. One, your ground texture is going to be different for different parts of your block. So you might have a mix of stone and gravel and rock for your foundation of your building, and so you would expect the texture underneath the building to be different from just a lawn area or a flat road area. So it's different. So applying this dark texture underneath does a couple things. One, it creates ambient occlusion, where the buildings pop out more because it has a dark texture underneath it. Now you can also apply this ambient occlusion through object shadows, so I can show you that as well. But I like to do the texturing myself, but it does work with object shadows as well. So those of you who would prefer to do object shadows instead, that's not hard. Just make sure that you select the ones that you want. You can select every single stamp from this set. So all of those are selected. Switch over to object shadow and then pick that brownish color that you want. Make sure it's set to 0. We'll get that nice brown texture that I'm looking for. We'll make it nice and dark, and we'll bring out the shadow a little bit, and you'll notice that I did some of the ambient occlusion for me already by just using object shadows. Now the issue with that is that now if you have elongated shadows due to the time of day, you will no longer be able to use object shadows to do that. So you'll have to factor in how you want to go about doing that. Me personally, again, I like to paint that dark texture underneath my stamps because I think it just looks nice. It really gives it a sense of kind of like there's dirt trotted, and it also, again, creates kind of this negative space with the dark texture not being around, and it leaves some lighter spaces. So it looks really nice. So let's fill those in. Here, here, here. Keep going. And we'll do it here as well, underneath this one. There we go. A little bit of shadowing underneath. Okay, we'll put one underneath here as well. And in here. Okay. Any questions so far? Please let me know, folks. Always glad to help. Okay. There we go. All right. Now we've added some dark texture. That looks cool. I'm pretty okay with that. All right, paths. Now you can go in and take your smaller little paths and make little routes going to little areas. So you can have a route that goes right here. Whoa. Oh, see, that looks like an error. Glad I could show you that. Oops. I hope I saved it. Yikes. Well, that's fun. Whee! Wasn't that fun? Yeah. Oops. I don't know how that happened. Always glad to share with you debugs. Oops. Looks like I'm going to have to do that again. Yay. I love that. That's just, just makes you feel all big inside. It's all right. It happens. It's not a problem. All right. It's not much changes. All I did was just the dark underneath, so I'll just go back over that again. Naughty, naughty, Inkarnate, you naughty, naughty, you. You will get a spanking. Naughty, naughty. Okay, yeah, let's go back in here. Naughty. Bad, Inkarnate, bad. How could you? Okay, we'll go ahead and paint these in here. I don't know what happened there. It might have just been too much going on at once. So, because there's a lot going on here. Let's go ahead and throw that in here. I don't mind doing a little bit of work again. It happens. Yeah. It happens. Okay, so now after you've done painting in underneath all of these, you'll again take your paths and make your little routes that go in between the little buildings and everything. And the beauty of it is that, you know, much of your building spaces, which is your positive space, allows you to add in those extra routes, because it's hard to plan out the entire road system of your entire city in advance. That's nuts. I mean, it's just, for me, a city is going to kind of grow, and it's going to evolve, and things are going to change, you know, and it's okay. Now, you can, of course, build a city that way and plan out every single road and everything. That's fine. But for me, I find it easier to just kind of create the block, and then it kind of comes together organically as you're building things. So that's what I've found. Okay, and I'm going to save right after this just to be safe. I don't... Dun dun dun, beware. Will it survive? Will the map survive? Okay, there we go. Now I can save it. Save it quickly! Before the fog rolls in, quickly! Have you ever done an amphitheater when doing a theater district? I have experimented with it. I wish we actually just had a stamp for it, so we should just have one. But I can show you how to make one if you want in this stream, because I just used a series of half circle stairs or quarter circle stairs, and then you just layer them, and then the further the stairs go down, make them a little bit darker. First, let me just show the little tiny route part, and then I'll make an amphitheater for you. And they're not actually as complex as you think to make. They're really cool. So I'll just go ahead and make a smaller path. Let me just check to make sure it's the right one. That works just fine. Perfect. And you can kind of make your little routes, like I said, go from here to right here. You can make little routes going into here and going around the tree. You can make a route that goes into here, into this main section. And in fact, I think I have to rotate this around because the staircase is facing the other way. Oopsie, oopsie, poopsie. Naughty, naughty. Making some mistakes. So we can add a little path in here that goes over to here maybe. Make sure that that path is set to -5 as well. I don't want it to be on top of any of my buildings. That would be weird. Super weird. Oh, so weird. Yeah, don't do the weird thing, okay? All right, so now we have some paths, maybe a path leading this way. We can put a path going in here maybe. You can have a path that maybe leads off to the side and goes in and leads back around to the path. Maybe have a road that leads to this one, and this one. Okay? So not too hard, right? Pretty simple stuff. Better save right now. Just kidding. Let's just add a couple more little routes, and then I'll show you that amphitheater, because amphitheaters are really cool. And I definitely want to show one. Let's put a path that kind of leads off to the side there, and we'll put one in here and in here. Let me just look around. Anywhere else? Yeah, let's connect those two. Maybe some routes. Let me take a look around. Oh yeah, let's put a route leading to this shed right here. And that one has a route. Perfect. We can even have a route that goes all the way back to here as well. Okay, perfect. Okay, next, let's make an amphitheater. Okay, I'm just going to put it up to the side here, but the way I would go about doing an amphitheater is these stairs right here. You see these stairs right here? Now, these stairs do lead down, and if you're wondering how I know that, it's because there's some ambient occlusion on the bottom part. As you go down, you'll see some shadows there. So let's take 2 of them and make our main shape to the amphitheater. So these are the first couple steps going down, right? First step, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it large first so it's easier to work with. So step 1, first steps, copy, paste. Let's bring it down. And I'm going to have to do some changing just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to have to change things. Let me go to advanced settings. Let me go with transform. Let me make sure I get it right. Let's change the height of this one. Let me just double check that I have it right. 1 second, let me check. I think, yeah, that's it right there. Okay, and drop the brightness a little down. Bring the brightness down just a little bit. So copy, paste. Oopsie, not that one. This one, you naughty thing, you. There we go. So now you have some amphitheater steps that kind of lead down. So that's step 1. Group the whole thing. Okay. Next step, you probably want to create the theater part, which is going to be right here, right below it. We can put it up this way. Whoa, what happened? We'll go it this way, okay? This way you can kind of see. So it's going down, upward. The theater is going to be in the top, okay? So from here, you can piece together stamps to create an amphitheater that you want. There's a lot of different ways, and it doesn't have to follow to Greek mythology. You can make, or not Greek mythology, but Greek architecture. You can make it any way that you want. So piece together some stamps, see what looks good. Let's go ahead and go on in here and take a look at our options. All kinds of fun options are that you could probably use for an amphitheater. Let's see here. Let me take a look. Oh, there's a nice... this right here looks kind of nice. I mean, there's even a stage. You can even kind of see a stage right there, and even some stairs that go up to the side right there. So that one might work. And you can continue going on with that too. Let's say that you want to add some domes maybe, or some additional stuff. So you can add another one. Let's go ahead and just 1 sec, please. I'll put this right over against here. Another one right here like this. So you have kind of a little stage right here, and then you can add structures in the back You can add some buildings for where the actors are preparing themselves. So this is the basic way that I would put it together. You can ring this as well with some bushes along the side. Leave some openings so that people can get to it. So if you're doing these bushes, make sure that there are points of entry. And the bushes also act as kind of a barrier so people don't try to pole vault. Once again, pole vaulting, you naughty things. You can throw in like 1, 2, 3. Here's an entrance that goes in. 1, 2, 3. An entrance that goes in. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go all the way across like this. And then make another entrance that goes in. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And these are the points that you are going to do to get in. So you go down like that. Okay. 1 second. Oopsie. I love this. Normal. Okay. A layer above. So these sections right here are how your patrons are going to get into the amphitheater. Those are the entrances. Okay. All right, so that's as simple as it gets for making an amphitheater, not complex. Just remember to make these stairs a little bit darker because it's meant to show depth, right? You can tell that those are further down. And of course, paint in whatever color you want down there, some kind of texture, whatever you want, okay? Entirely up to you. I'll just save this for now. I'm gonna group it and I'll bring it down in size and we can maybe replace this one with this one. There we go, perfect. All right, bring it down. Boop, boop. There we go, nice and small. And then here's an amphitheater right there. There you go, amphitheater done. Boo-boo, da-da-da-da. Amphitheater done, all right? 84 changes, yeah, doing good. Oh, we're at the hour mark, we're an hour in. I think we can call this section fairly good. You can factor in all kinds of other things. Like for me, once you've done the main section, you would just go in and fill in the rest of these spaces with, I would put in maybe a couple more hills, like a hill right here. In fact, we can do that right now by just selecting paths only. And I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to bring it down here and just delete all the big paths, these gray ones right here. Oopsie, not those ones, these ones. And then I can keep this hill. Okay, so if you finish the main part of the block, that means whatever, like if you feel like you're running out of space, one thing you can always do is just cram a bunch of residential buildings around it, okay? Because that's where you're gonna find it. Cities, they expand and they grow and they're trying to always find space for new developmental space. And so it's always nice to just, once you've built in the main part, this theater district, just cram in a whole bunch of blocks right in here. Throw in an extra hill if you want. You can make this hill something important, like you can make it put another, maybe like a temple or maybe an important house or an elite area, and then just fill in the rest, this section right here, with a bunch of blocks. Don't forget that making your blocks is not complex. One thing that you can do to make it easier is just to go in and take that path and just create the routes that you need. So we have, let's real quick do this, 1 second. Let's have a route that kind of leads down into here. Let's also have this route go all the way around the hill, which you would kind of expect, right? Goes all the way around the hill. And let's push some branching routes. Just have them branch right out away from the main road, okay? And then we'll even have one that goes up to here, to this section. Have another one that goes this way, that goes this way. And you're just gonna create your, a bunch of residential, because that was what you expect, right? So we've added in all those roads. Now you have all that negative space that you need, and then go in and to pick whatever large blocks that exist. There are some large blocks right here. It depends. There's one right here, medium cluster. These one works great, and it doesn't take very long to fill it in. So you just take one, put another one in, rotate it to where it fits, right? Rotate. Let's put one there. Let's put one here. Let's put one right here. And all you do is just go in and fill in as much of the negative space as you can. That's it. I mean, it's really as simple as that, because most of your city, again, is going to be residential blocks, okay? That's actually the easy part. Residential blocks are easy because there's not much that distinguishes them from other blocks. It's just all res. But if you're making, obviously, like a district with a special kind of structures in it, like theaters and stuff like that, then of course you're probably going to want to use a little bit more specialty buildings. So cities are time consuming, but they're not as hard as you think, because you don't have to do as much as you think. You're always like, well, it's such a huge project, but look how quickly it's taking to throw in just a couple of these city blocks. It's filling in so much negative space already. So if you follow that method of just make your routes and then just fill in with residential, then it's really not as complex or as difficult as you think. I mean, already so much. We filled in so much of this area already. And just keep going. We'll fill in the whole thing. Let's just get it all going. And I might even want to consider adding in some buildings that are along here as well. So we'll keep throwing in more. Hey, everyone knows the Star Wars meme. More. Okay, let's just keep going. I want to fill in the entire thing with as many blocks as possible. Wee, this block is floating around. Wee. Landing right there. Yeah, that's where you belong. Right there. We're gonna leave you right there. Yeah. All right. Throw in those blocks along here, of course. Just keep throwing them in. Yeah. Throwing in my rando blocks. Yeah. Okay. Keep going. Same stamp. That will not do. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. All right, keep going. Adding in some more blocks, yeah? Okay. We're almost there. Bear with me, my friends. You're being blocked. I'm sorry. Okay. Right, so again, just create the central part, the most important part of your specialty block, theater, whatever, and then in the negative space around all that, just put in all of your just very simple residential blocks to kind of fill in, okay? It's really as simple as that. And then again, use the same techniques, throw in a couple courtyards, maybe throw in some fountains, depending on how rich the neighborhood is. Throw in some grassy areas, a few ponds, whatever. I mean, obviously in a more poorer district, you're probably not going to have as many ponds, beautiful forests, parks, fountains. It's probably going to look like hell. Okay, it's probably going to look like an apartment that I live in. Just kidding. All right, so yeah, pretty much you want to just fill in and continue on that process. So keep adding in more little roads and stuff like that, okay? Now that's part's done. We can go and move to the next district. I just want to get the basics down. I hope that helped. We're now an hour in and we can move on to the next part. We're going places. We're doing things. Okay. Let's see here. What should we do next? A parliament area, a park, a market, a dockyard, the elite section. Any suggestions, anyone? What would you recommend? Anyone? Anyone? Any buyers? Market for 200? Market for 300? Sold. No, I don't know. Who is it? What do you guys want? You tell me. They're all there. Someone pick a food market. Oh, no, we got elite, food. Oh, got 2 places now. What else? Come on, folks. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Food and elite. Is there going to be a vote? It's a showdown. It's a showdown. It's going to be market, going to be elite. Oh, 2 elites now. Thank you. Oh, baby sprouting for the... Oh, no, Giant, read a doc. Well, I have to make the decision myself. I'll have to be an authoritarian person here and just kind of decide the next one now, because 3 have been suggested. Well, considering that we're running out of time, I should probably go with the smaller space. So I think a dockyard might be the best one. So I think that actually, well, there's 2 elite. So yeah, okay, 2 elite that is. 2 elite it is then, folks. The people have spoken. I will obey the will of the people. All right. We're going with elite, yo. All right. I'm going to just refresh the page because I don't want to deal with the ickies. So I'll refresh the page and we'll move on to an elite section. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Elites. I put my nose up to you because I'm a snobby elite. Snob. I am elite. So much better. My farts don't stink. I am the elite. I am so amazing. Twirly, twirly mustache. I am the elite. Okay, here we go. All right, let's take that hill. And I do love those hills, so I can copy and paste it and put a hill down. And I really like that because it's nice to use the hills to your advantage. So let's do 2 hills going across like this. And we can maybe create a bridge, a drawbridge, or something that goes across so that way it is kind of blocked off. So we have 2 hills right here going across. Let's also make sure that we use our textures. Again, always paint your hills. So I'll go in here and we'll do paint real quick. Shouldn't take too long. All right, here we go. We'll do that first pass. Do that first pass on the second one. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put in the dark side. Come join us. Join the dark side. I am your father. Let's do it. Let me add some shadow here on the hill. Look, I am your father. You know, that voice, could you imagine if Vader had said it that way? Look, I am your father. Wouldn't be quite as, I don't know, I think I'd be laughing at the voice than, actually being like, no! Okay, let's go ahead and use that lighter texture and put it on the top, yeah? There we go, get some lighter texture in there, nice. There we go, throw in some more here. Ooh, let's go up a layer, I think. Oh, go up, put some there. There we go. Now we got some nice. Actually, I think I might even want to be even lighter than that. Bring up the brightness. Okay, there we go. There we go, nice and bright. All right, sweet. And I got to make sure, are these at the right layer? Let me check. Layer -5. Ah, bueno. Perfect. All right. Oh, okay. So with an elite section, I kind of think of cordoned off from society, don't want to actually be involved with the common rabble, the plebs, you elitist pigs. So we might want to maybe cordon off their section so we can add in a wall, stuff like that. First, let's start with like the main dockyard, and I might even want to not make it so crazy like this. So going with the add mode and just make a straight up circle with it. So I'll subtract this real quick with my circle, and I'm gonna make just a kind of a perfect circle instead, and it will act as kind of like purely a man-made dockyard. Okay. So, or what do they call it? A quay? Is that what they call it? I think it's called a quay. I can't remember. I do believe it's called the quay, but I don't remember. Okay, let's go with a circle brush. I'm gonna make it nice and large, like this. Let's go with the add mode, like that. I think that should be good. There we go. And then don't forget to go in and go with your add mode. There we go, perfect. So we kind of have that, almost kind of a, what do they call it? McCarthage. A K, yeah, a key, not quay, my bad. Ow! Okay, let's go ahead and add this in. Oopsie, let's get it right. Track, there we go. Okay. No, still not doing it right, come on. There we go, okay. So you have this kind of nice section right here where basically we're gonna put some houses ringing around this section, and we're going to put maybe some defenses or towers, some kind of maybe a drawbridge that lets boats go into this circular kind of watery section right here. So that's kind of nice. So let's also pick the right buildings. Of course, if they're elites, the snobby brats, we want to make sure that they have nice golden whatever sections so that they, you know, feel special. So let's maybe stick with this kind of teal color, even though there's already blue here. I think it's okay. We'll just go ahead and take a couple structures and put them around here. So let's put some major structures first. Let's put a first one that goes down this way. Let's put another one right here. Remember, it's elite, so it's not going to be like 50 people. It's not going to be like 130 people. It's probably just going to be a couple people, okay? So we'll add in a couple of these, and then I'm going to turn this around, my bad. The key, thank you very much, by the way. Joyanne, I appreciate that. Awesome. I love being corrected. Actually, I really do. It's nice. I always learn something new. All right, so let's take a look here. There should be some smaller ones, I think. Oh, here we go. Here are some of the smaller structures. These will work just fine. Oh, wait, is there another blue? Oh, yeah, right here. There we go. Okay, let's go through them. There we go. Some other smaller buildings to add in here. Let's see here. Oh, I like that one. That one's cool. There we go. So we have some, this is kind of that richy, snobby area, and we're going to make sure that the buildings are lined up, and we're going to create some private docks as well. And I like to use these as docks. Personally, they kind of have that docky look, so I kind of like it. Doggone it. All right, so we're going to add some of those. Copy and paste. I want to do this copy, paste, and put the dockyards out there. Let's put another dockyard. Okay. Even for Americans, English is kind of their second language. Jeez. All right. All right. There we go. In fact, I don't think these have to be that far out. My goodness. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that far out. Copy, paste. Let's add in the last couple private docks. And we'll make sure to put buildings there as well. And put some boats as well. Okay. And of course, we want to maybe feel like maybe this is a bit darker here. I think that works out fine. So we'll put in some boats. Doggone it. Gotta add them. Well, shucks. We gotta add them boats. So we'll type in the boat. Okay, and let's do a long one. Like, these are kind of the leady farts, so let's kind of give them that. And let's make it special, like it's a special kind of gondola. And the fun way to make a gondola is to take a boat and a market thing like this. And you can go ahead and make a gondola by just putting this right on top of it like that. And now you have a simple gondola boat that has some cover below for the richy people so they don't get wet, because who likes rain? Nobody. So we'll group that. There we go. And we'll put one up against here like this. And we can even put some smaller boats in there as well. Some don't have to have a gondola. Or have a little thing over it. Let's put down some more longer ones. One over here as well. You kind of think each person's probably going to have their own boat, as you would expect. Like that. Put another one over here. And we'll take those market tents again and just put them right on top. Okay? And you can have them facing different ways if you want. I like this way. It looks kind of nice. You can have another one that's maybe like this. And throw another one right there on top like that. Now, once you've done that, you can also tether your boats to your dockyard. Just take a path like this. Turn them all off. Go with black. Bring the size down. There we go. And now you can go ahead and tether your boats to your dockyard. So just boop, boop. One there and one up against here. And one up against here like that, okay? So now your boats are tethered in right there. There are a couple other options as well. If we want, we can put a little tiny island gazebo in the center where sometimes they like to go out and have some biscuits, some gravy, I don't know, whatever food rich people like. So we can put like a little gondola in there, like a little, I don't know, like a gazebo. So you can do that if you want. We can put in a gazebo. Let's go with this, like this. So we have a gazebo in the center, like that, with a roof on it. And then we can take those circular stairs that we just had, of course, and you can kind of create a circle with it. So we'll make them small first. Put these together like this, real quick. All right, now you have that. Make sure that you group all these together. Bring it down a layer. There we go. Size it down. And then you have your staircases, the staircase leading up to it. And we can make the stairs a little bit darker. You can even have the stairs be underwater if you wanted to. If you want, maybe it's the foundation of it. So one thing you can do is change the blend mode to luminosity, and then you can either change the blend mode or change the opacity to make it look like it's more underwater. So the foundation is underwater, and then I'll bring it down quite a few layers because maybe I can put a dock just right, a dock kind of leading to the gazebo like this. So now you have that, and we can take a small boat, put it right here, and even take that path and rotate it and have a boat that's tethered to that little gondola. Let's make sure that it's somewhat centered. First, I want it to be somewhat centered. I think that works just fine. And we can even make it more fun and kind of rotate it so it's not perfect. Like that. In fact, let's rotate it this way. There we go. All right, so now you have a nice little dockyard. We're at 102 changes. Let's save. All right, sweet. And then from there, we're going to want to make, again, some kind of bridge that go across both the hills. And maybe there's like a drawbridge that goes up that lets boats go in and out of this section, okay? So we'll make sure to do that as well. And if you don't like this, I think they're all blue. Maybe we could just change this one to a blue instead, or a lighter blue, maybe a green like that. Maybe bring the brightness up. There we go. Like that. Okay, now let's create the drawbridge that's, you won't be able to see the drawbridge part unless we want to put down some details. I don't think that's really necessary. What we really need to do is just to maybe take some fortifications. And I do believe there's some in the castle section. These right here work just fine, these kind of squares right here. And we'll put them partially on the hill and partially in the water and on the side of the hill. So copy, paste. We'll put another one right here like this, okay? Now right across is where our drawbridge is going to be. And so it's not something that people actually walk along. They're gates that are going to open and close. So there are a couple routes, a couple ways that we can do this. We can take these ones like this and create a swivel like this. We'll put it down below like this. And this way it kind of shows that there's a gate opening up, letting boats in. And in fact, we can add a boat in like this to make it look like it's going into it. So that way you have a gate that goes in, and the people who run the gate, maybe there's a small retinue, a private retinue security service that watches over, because they're elites, right? They can buy anything. Hey, that's, the rich, they cheat at life, right? They hack life. It's called money. You're cheating at life, man. So we'll go in and we'll add in a small retinue service. It's going to live on these hills, and they're controlling each gate, guarding the gate, making sure that the plants do not get in, okay? So let's take care of that part. And it's not too hard to kind of put all that together. One thing we can do is just take a wall piece and we can put it along like this. So I'll put one there, and you can just rotate and place these all along the ledge to create this wall. So I'll just keep adding all of these. This is going to be a little time consuming, so go ahead and just add in all of these walls. Just kind of cordon off the section so no one can get in, of course. All right, so I'll add another one right here. Keep going. Let's bring it in a little bit more this way so I have some room to rotate and add them in. Oops. Naughty. Oh, actually, in fact, there are some curved ones that I can use like this. There we go. That should make just a smidge easier. There we go. We'll go ahead and add it in. You should be able to rotate them enough, though, to where you don't have to use those extra pieces, but it takes a little bit, so we'll rotate. And the hill also acts, as you can see, over the wall, so it has a defensive position as well, okay? Let's go ahead and throw that in. There we go. And we might want to also put walls around this side as well. But you get the general idea. It's an elite section, so expect some walls. Put the wall all the way to the edge there. And of course, put all your walls around that as well. For now, we'll just stick with this part first. And I'm going to use this one right here, I think. It adds a nice sharp edge to it. And then I'll go ahead and take these really long ones, and then that way I can get more distance done. So I'll rotate them just by incremental degrees like this, and we can create a gated area. And we will create a gatehouse as well. So we'll go all the way across. Let's angle it one more down like that. Okay, keep going. Angle it down again. Angle it down even more. Okay, so now you have kind of this elite section. It's well cordoned off. There we go. Let's keep going, keep going. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Let's leave some room so they're not like left, so there's not like they're just completely, there's a wall in their backyard. So make sure that we do some stuff. And let's maybe just continue it on down this way. We can finish that section over there. There we go. So now you have this whole walled off section. We're at 82 changes. Let's save 20 minutes. We got plenty of time to add tons of stuff in here. Any questions that people have, feel free to ask. Doesn't matter how dumb the question is, because it's not dumb. How many chickens can we fit inside of this hill? I bet you we could fit about 5,000 chickens on that hill right there. The top one, of course, up there. Because, you know, that one's a completely different size than the one below, obviously. I mean, a whole chicken coop, right? Yeah, let's just do that. Let's add a chicken coop right there. I will put 5,000 chickens in here. All the chicken. I want all the chicken all the time right here. Give me all the chicken. It's an ongoing theme in my streams to somehow involve chickens. I don't know. It's the same thing we had space chicken in the cosmology maps, right? Space chicken. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we're doing here, okay? You know it, guys. I can't take it seriously. You know me. Okay, so we've added those walls. We do want to create some spaces for... I'm going to bring down these as well. These are pretty big. Bring down these sizes. Boop. So big. So big. So big. Oh, so big. My God, sir. Why, Grandma, your dogs are so big. Why, thank you, sweetie. How better to... I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. Now we've added that in there. We can probably throw in a little bit of paths to kind of lead to things. So I'll select this main path here. And now I have that I used. Are you going to do waves in the water? What next? What next? Clouds? More chickens? Demanding what? You're so demanding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we'll probably throw in some waves in there. Yeah, that's not a problem. We can throw them in there. Let's go ahead and throw in our roads real quick first. And we're probably going to want to throw a road that goes to here and goes all the way around. So a main route that goes along the wall, as you would expect, right? We kind of need a path going to the walls. So we'll add that, and we'll add a path that kind of goes up to here and it goes right to there. And we do want this path leading into there. Now, once you've done the main paths, now you can connect each house to the route, whichever way you want. One here, this person doesn't have much of a front yard, but hey, that's the cost of extra security, I suppose. And so now that you've done those main routes, you can throw in all kinds of fun stuff. Again, do those outbuildings. Do the servants live in the same quarter? Do servants live outside the wall? We can put some cheaper buildings out here to represent servants, and then they have to go in through a gate every morning to get to the elites, because we can't have no stinky workers mixing with the higher orders. Naughty. All right, so you've done all that. Now, in the interior, there's a lot of fun things that you're probably going to add. Probably a lot of gardens, water spaces, all kinds of things when it comes to elite. Now, we do want to add some outbuildings as well. Maybe they own a second apartment where they want to stay the night. They don't want to be near. Maybe the wife is like, my husband drives me insane. I'm going to sleep in the apartment tonight, Charles. Okay? So, I mean, the husband, he drives me insane. He is crazy. So we'll add in a couple outbuildings that kind of represent smaller apartments. Maybe, you know, we're going to take care of Grandma. So Grandma's going to stay outside. We don't want her in a separate house. She smells funny. Okay? Nothing wrong with smelling funny. Yeah, nothing wrong with smelling funny. Nothing at all, okay? So fresh. So we'll throw some outbuildings that kind of represent smaller apartments, a drawing apartment, whatever it is you want it to be, right? There's a lot of different options. Let me find the nicer houses, though, for that. There we go. Some big ones. There we are. Oh, yeah. It's a nice building right there, and maybe I throw in a smaller one, maybe over here. Where do you want you? Right there. There we go. And then, of course, you do want to throw in some smaller buildings to represent where your small retinue. So we'll add in maybe just a couple little houses, little buildings, and we don't want to forget maybe some storage areas. So maybe this is just a little outhouse right here. This is where the soldiers go to take a dump. This is the dump area. We'll throw in one here. Okay. And then you can throw in all kinds of little stuff here. You could even throw in a little brown training yard, an archery range for practicing. Maybe these elites have lots of moolah, so they can afford a very expensive private retinue. Okay. All right, there we go. Let's take a look where we're at. Okay, so really what we should be doing now is really throwing in a lot of the greenery. There are going to be lots of beautiful lawns and stuff like that. So let's start making the greenery just like we did in this one up here, right here. So we throw in all that greenery, but we're going to have a lot more greenery in this one. And I did make these a little out of scale to this one, by the way. Oops. Fudge muffins. Well, holy spadoli. Okay, we'll go down to 100. I'll select all of these and make sure they're at 100. There we go. Bring them down in size. Naughty me. Listen, boy, what's wrong with your scale? Yeah, I know. You know, I know. Okay, let's do this, all right? So let's throw in front of each... Oopsie, I don't want this softness. What is this? No. You go away. Naughty. We'll go down a couple sizes here. We're going to put lawns first in the very front of each snobby person's house. There we go. As you would kind of expect, a nice lawn. Fit that shape in. Okay. Same thing with this one. This guy's got a little bit of smaller lawn. Sorry about that. I guess your dealings aren't quite as profitable. All right, so got some small ones there. Let's add in a couple more right here. Right in the front is a good start. And then from there, you could build off from there. So we'll go in here like this. All right, maybe even give grandma's apartment a little bit of a lawn, you know, come on. All right, we'll add in a lawn here. Let's add in like a quad one, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Be creative, okay? Be creative. So we've got 4 there. Maybe we want to add another long one right here like this. Fill in this negative space. There we go. Yeah. To grandmother's house we go. Opens the gate so I can get to grandma. Okay, we'll throw in here. A couple more. On a small lawn leads to an open air greenhouse. Oh, I love that. That's cool. I'm sure we could actually make a greenhouse too using opacity. So maybe we'll try that. I shall try my hand at the open air greenhouse, and you will watch me fall, slip very carefully. See my failure. Now let's do some interesting shapes. It's always nice to throw in some interesting kind of shapes instead of just the squares, the circles, and the ovals. So you can, and this gives you lots of room to put in that greenhouse. Let's also make a giant shape right here like this. Okay, there we go. All right, an orchard. Yeah, all kinds of different things you can do. I would expect a private well, so we're gonna put a well in here as well. We're gonna put a well in here as well, just to let you know. Well. Okay, let's keep going here. There we go. So kind of a strange arrowhead shaped. This is the arrowhead lawn. Yes. There we go. And I think just right there should be enough. You could put one right here. I'm not so sure. Could put a small one right here, and then maybe just make a whole big one in this negative space right here. Okay. And then we can figure out how to do our greenhouses. And I have some ideas how to pull this off. All right, bets are on. 4-1. Can Matty do it? Can he make it? All bets are off. Okay, all right. All right, let's take a step back to see how it looks first with that green. Yep, that works just fine for me. Don't forget, you do want to, of course, kind of line it with some bushes. Now, there are other options. I do think there are hedges as well, and hedges might work pretty good, actually. So you can just take these hedges right here, and you can kind of apply them if you wish. So you can kind of create these hedges that kind of make definitely a little bit more LED, right? Because they're a little bit more well taken care of. So we'll throw in a couple of these. Okay, and I do want to make sure I create an entrance, don't forget, for them to go into this lawn. And I can throw in some gardens as well. So roses, some bushes like that. So let's just remove this one right here. And so you can get in that way. Okay, let's also bring the size down and just add in another one like this. Let's throw it in there. There we go. And some of them are small, and you don't have to actually have them. They can be completely cordoned off, and then you can throw something in the center of it. That means flowers, bushes, trees, whatever you want. But for now, we're going to just ring as much of these as possible. So it's starting to come together now that we've added some hedges. And I think what I'll do is make a section. Okay, we'll keep going here. Anyone have any questions so far? How are we doing? Everyone asleep? Everyone awake? Wake up! Wake the hell up! So vicious, Mati. Okay. Alright. Alright, sweet. Time consuming it does appear to be. But it does bear fruit. It does look alright. I'm digging. Oh, yeah. Whee! Okay, anyone? You ready? Whee! You know what's really fun is to select like 12 of these things and then do that. Trips me out every time. You know, like, whoa, what is this? Some kind of trip, man. Why are all these stamps spinning? Oh, man, I feel dizzy. Okay. All right. So, I mean, you get the general idea that you're going to be putting on all this stuff. Yeah, drink that coffee. Coffee is like the morning savior. I mean, when I wake up, I'm like a puddle, and people have to like pick me up with a ladle and then carry me to each room, because otherwise I'm like, yeah, that's me, dude. I'm like, I'm not awake. I'm in a different planet right now. That happens to me, man. I swear. I wake up and it's like, what? Dude, what the fudge? Okay, so we'll go ahead and continue adding some paths in. Let's throw in maybe a fountain or two. These people are rich, huh? They got to have some fun stuff, right? So let's throw in some statues, some rose gardens. There's some bushes here. There's some nice flower beds right here. So you can go in and kind of line up a couple of these flower beds up against the side here like this. Watch as I'm rotating. Rando here. I mean, you can have the whole interior part like this, have some flowers along the ledge there if you want. Lots of different ways to make your garden beautiful. It's up to you how you want to go about it. Now, if you don't like that, you can create different rows. This is kind of an awkward shape, to work with, but you might want to use a different shape. Like maybe these work better up here instead of in here. It just depends. Okay, like maybe just 2 right here is fine. You could take a circular one and put a circular one just right there. It's up to you. You can have it all be symmetrical where it's all the same. It's up to you. Symmetrical will probably be a bit easier, but it's up to you how you want to go about it. Let's try that greenhouse real quick. I have an idea that might work. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Let's go ahead and apply some stamps here, and we might want to try some tricks. Let's just see here. An open air greenhouse. Not so sure. Let's figure this out here. With object none. Just want to copy and paste. I think I'll copy and paste a couple of these together. Like this, copy, paste. And I might have to change the blend mode, but this might work. Let's just try it out. All these are selected. Let's select all these. My mistake. Let's place this greenhouse where we want, right against the lawn right here. And we could try blend modes to go over it and maybe see if one of those work. A lot of different ways we can go about this. Color dodge. Ooh, that's an interesting. Well, that's kind of tripping me out right there. Ooh, tripping. Difference. Whoa. Hue. Open air. That's just called a garden. Agreed. It is. But, you know, you can use these as a greenhouse if you wanted to. Just put side by side like that. And you can change the opacity if you want to make it look like there's maybe some glass. You can put them side by side like this to make it look like they're kind of see-through a little bit, so there's glass there. Up to you. Just a little bit of changing the opacity is all you really need to do. Not a whole lot. And then you can create, you know, maybe a garden path with flowers. Maybe you want to put this up against, put some couple against the greenhouse. So you go right outside like this. So you, oopsie, and I think this opacity is also at 58. I only want this. So yeah, again, just change the opacity. Look, all you have to do, and that way you can kind of see the green underneath. So it kind of represents glass. If I know it's maybe contradicting because you're like, well, wait a minute, this part wouldn't be, right? So it's up to you. There's all kinds of different ways that you might want to go about making a greenhouse. That, or we can just request to make some. I think that would be pretty cool, really. We need greenhouses, and we need them right now. But let's take a step back. 185 changes. Yeah, so far so good. I'm gonna drink some more of my Go juice. My Go juice is all gone. I need more. I do believe an open-air greenhouse is called a garden. Monsieur, you are mistaken. I love it. Okay, where are we here? Yeah, so from here, I would definitely ring every single one of my, these so they have something, and then add in a well, add in some statues. I mean, think of all the fineries that you would expect wealthy people to afford. So they don't have to have their own private food. They're probably going to be taking that from whatever markets and foods are around here. So they're probably not going to be growing their own food. You could have your own private garden with vegetables. You can throw that in there. Like you can turn some of these into, instead of a green, you could have one private garden. Up to you. Lots of different things to go about. Perhaps a carriage house, absolutely. Stables, all those things you might want to add in, right? Of course, I totally agree. You can put stables along the side here. We could push the wall farther out. We should figure out where the gate really leads to. Let's go ahead and make a gatehouse real quick. And the way we're going to do the gatehouse is we're going to make it an open section. So we'll make a larger gatehouse section. It's nice and open. So I'll show you how I'm going to go about doing that. Let's extend our wall further out, and then we can add in our gatehouse, our stables for the horses, for the carriage, all that stuff. So let's go ahead in here and add in a bunch here at this one, at this one. Just keep adding them. There we go. And then our last one right here. We can rotate. Oops. Whoa. I think I recognize that. That looks like a bug. I thought we fixed that. Hey everybody, do you like bugs? I do. Okay, and then from here we can put a gatehouse probably right here, and we'll make a path leading to the gatehouse like that. Okay, and then right here can be our stable and our gatehouse, all that stuff. Okay, so I'll just go in here, and I'm just going to use this as a gatehouse. Let's bring it down a little bit smaller. So this is just going to be our gatehouse right here. All right, and then I'm going to create a path leading to the gatehouse, as you would expect. Right, and then we can have a little path which we want to create some stables. So let's go ahead and type that in. I'm not sure if there is a stable. Let's just find out. No, there is not. So we'll have to come up with our own. Not too hard. Stables don't have to be extremely decorative. It can be as simple as just a little barn like this. So this is where you house your horses. Maybe you want your carriage driver. Maybe they're a very trusted individual. So maybe create a small residence for your carriage driver over here. And we can throw in some other options as well. Let's see here. Let's throw in some smaller buildings, like maybe a place to put hay, some feeding, other little tiny little objects, little areas you might want to throw some stuff in. Let's throw in a small one here. There we go. Okay. And one thing we can do is throw in a cart to kind of show that it's a gate area. So we throw in a cart and just, let's grab this wagon. That'll work just fine. Take a wagon and just put it right up against, up here. Let's go up a size. Let's put the wagon maybe over, this is room for the horses to come out. So let's put this right here. And if you want, you could say that there's a covered area. It's covered, so you could say some of it is sticking out like this, or if the cart is inside of something. So it's up to you. I'm just going to put one outside. Technically, we could put this inside and have it covered, and then put another one on the outside. Okay. So we'll go ahead and do that. There we go. Boom, 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 and stinky. Okay. And then from there we can throw in some painting. So let me just take a darker color like this one right here, and we're going to paint in some negative spaces, a little bit of brown. You would expect a little bit of dirt from horses trotting around that area, from the carriage tracking in maybe a little bit of dirt. So you would expect some like dirt sections like this, and I'm going to use that nice dark texture, of course, underneath my my structures. There we go. Let's go up a size. There we go. A little bit better. There we go. Same thing we did with the last one. We painted in the dark ambient occlusion underneath to make sure that these pop out. Okay. Same thing. Do that here. Do it with this one. Okay. Any questions so far? Feel free to ask. There we go. That one here. All right. Where are we at for time? 42. Sweet. Just enough time to kind of finish the last bits of stuff in here. I'm not going to ring every single thing. I'll probably just do that off screen because you already understand how that works when it comes to ringing things. So I'll maybe add in just a couple more things and then we'll call it good. All right. There we go. Let's take a look. Yep, I like it so far. Missed some spots underneath here as well. Come on, you can do it. There we go. All right. Okay, let's take a step back and see what that is. Ambient inclusion. Is that shadow? Yes. Ambient inclusion is like just a little bit of shadow on the outside to make things pop out a little bit. It's basically the ambient inclusion is where the ground meets the structure, and there's a little bit of a shadow there. So right where the structure it comes in contact with the ground, that little corner right there, that is the ambient inclusion that's going to pop out. You see, I've added ambient inclusion along this hill right here. You see how I've added a little bit of dark around the hill? It's because it's to separate it from the ground itself. All right. I mean, if I was to paint this part of this hill, the left side of it, with the same as the ground texture, it wouldn't look like there's an incline there. So I've added a little bit of shadow, even though the sun is facing that towards that part of that hill, that little bit of shadow ringing all the way around it gives it the perception that there's some depth there. That's the side of the hill. Okay, it's the same concept. You want to add ambient occlusion, which creates contrast that gives something depth, right? So, for example, if I wanted these walls to seem like they were tall freaking walls, then I would go in with a dark texture. Sorry about that noise, and then just go in like this and go all along the bottom. And let me just paint that section, and you'll see right away the difference. This part looks like it pops out a little bit more than this part because I've added in some shadow underneath. Okay, let's just go ahead and do that. We'll go all the way around this. We should anyway. Of course, this will help to create more depth. Now you can use object shadows, you can use layer shadows. There's a lot of different ways to go about making ambient occlusion. I've used paths, lots of different ways that you want to go about doing it. That's the beauty of the tool, is that it gives you lots and lots of options on how to make things. It's up to you. Experiment, try new things. I mean, that's just the beauty of Inkarnate is that you have so many different options. There's more than one way to do anything, and I love that myself. Okay, let's do this and do this along this edge as well, just to give it that extra sense of depth. And remember, the darker that you make it, the darker that you add the edge, that's probably going to mean the taller the structure is. So if you want to represent a very, very tall building, you're going to want to make sure that you have a bit of a darker edge. So let me drop the brightness of this texture and I'll show you what I mean. If you want a section to seem like it's tall, then you're going to go in with a very dark texture, bring down the line size, and just go along this ledge like this. Oopsie, that's a bit too dark. Let's bring this size down, the brightness just a bit. That works a little better. So I'm adding this nice hard line edge, okay? And what that's going to do is it's going to make it look like it pops out more. You notice that? Look how that looks like it's a bit taller because I added that nice dark edge. So if you want to show a tower, then make sure that you have a nice deep and nice dark ambient occlusion at the base. Okay, so that way it represents that depth. Do that same thing right here. These are technically towers that control the bridge. So I'm going to add that really nice dark edge to really make sure that that really pops out. This is something I always recommend with everything. Add ambient occlusion to anything that you want to pop out and not make it look like it's blend in with the texture below it, right? You want it to pop out because we want it to give it dimension, depth, height, and that's how you do it. Ambient occlusion, always the trick for making things pop out, okay? Just remember that. And you can also show more height by adding more and more shadows. So if I wanted to, I could go in with a larger brush and go on this edge right here and even make it even larger. So if I make the ambient occlusion any bigger, it's going to make it look like it's even taller than that. And again, if you want, you can add in the shadow of it, paint it in, or use a path. Up to you. So maybe I just want this section right here to show the shadow along here. And now the thing with that though is that when you paint in shadows, you will notice that this shadow isn't affected by this. You notice that I painted it here and it didn't work. The next step that you might want to do is consider paths. Now I don't do a whole lot of shadowing with the path tool for Watercolor Cities because it's a lot of paths to get the correct shadow. Now, if you have time and you want to do that, you can, up to you. I don't actually recommend using a lot of elongated shadows with your city maps because you'll have to make a lot of them. It's actually better if you just make sure that your shadows are just centered on your stamp, and that way it's a heck of a lot easier for you to not have to worry about creating all these elongated shadows and having to do all this work. But I will show you a quick trick with the path tool for doing shadows. I would recommend this trick more for fantasy battle maps, but heck, might as well share it. Make sure it's blurred, make sure that it's set to normal, and make sure you drop the opacity down. Okay, now once you've added that, you can go in and create your path. So if you wanted something to, the shadow of a building to show up over a stamp, the path tool is perfect for that. You can go in and create this angled shadow like this. Oopsie, let's delete that. You can create an angled shadow, and you can see that it's going over. It's going over that. So path tools, the path tool works absolutely fantastic as shadowing. But again, I would recommend it more for the fantasy battle map where it's up close and you can actually play more with the shadows. Again, it's just a lot more work if you try to make all these angled shadows and stuff like that with the path tool. It's just very time consuming. But if that's the route you want to go, there's nothing wrong with that. Just do that, okay? I'm going to quickly save here. Yeah, the path tool is a little more than the path tool, shall we say. For those power users in the chat, they all know that the path tool is, we just call it the path tool because that's what it's called. But yeah, it's kind of an all-in-one, a kind of jack of all trades tool, but we're not going to call it that, obviously. Or a Jill of all trades, whichever. We'll be careful here with my pronouns. I want to be polite. Okay, so yeah, either a Jack and Jill of all trades. So we don't really have that, but it's just a path tool, mostly for paths. But, you know, you can use it for other things. It's really up to you, okay? So just factor that in. And again, when you're putting together everything, just remember, we'll go over where we started, okay? Because we're going to wrap it up now. But make first your major routes, your main carriageway thoroughways. So that way you don't have to like make all the little side branching roads, right? So main carriageway. Make the main carriageway lead up to the most important parts of the block. If it's a theater block, then make the main route lead to the theaters, going through some important housing. If it's a market, make sure the main route goes through the heart or the interior of the market, right? And then all your branching routes go out from there. Okay, so start with your landscape, make your own hills, use a hill stamp if you want. If it's going to be flat, don't worry about terrain. Just add in your main route and your central POI. If it's just a residential block, you don't have to add in a main POI unless it's something special. Okay, unless it's something special. But your just your regular residential blocks, you don't have to add anything special. You don't have to line all of the roads with bushes. And you don't have to add trees to everything. Okay, and then once you've done all that, once you've added in your main POI and your main route, throw in your other utility-based or functional buildings. So whether it's a stable, whether it's a blacksmith shop, whatever, those are those functional buildings. Add those in, add in your side roads, and then surround the rest, encase the rest with your residential. Now, just a quick question when it comes to like labeling your blocks. I want to mention a couple things about labeling city blocks, because sometimes people are like, well, how is it that I label a block? How would I go about doing that? Okay, and I'll give you a quick an idea on how to go about doing that. Okay, there are a couple ways to label your blocks. You can use a banner and put that on top, but just know that your banner will probably block some of your section. So be very careful when you place a banner on your map. Let me type in banner real quick. And I'll show you a couple things about labeling a block. All right, so you see how big this banner is? It's absolutely massive, right? It's pretty big, okay? So when you're placing your banner for your label, you're probably going to want to place it away from any building that's important, right? Any building that might be important. So don't cover up, don't obviously put the label right on top of the things you're trying to showcase, right? Move it off to the side. It's okay if it covers some residential buildings where your players will never go to, okay? You only need to label sections of your city where characters are actually going to go, okay? Trying to plot out every single building and what it does is just overkill, and it's not necessary, okay? When you're building your city, only focus on points where your players are absolutely going to go. Those are the areas you want to label. You don't want to label every tiny little house. You don't want to label every single residential area. You just want to label the most important points where your players are going to play. Okay, so you maybe put this here, it blocks it. Let's go ahead and throw in your theater. And there are a couple things that you can do when decorating. If you have the extra space, you can go in and maybe decorate. Let's say it's a really important section. Like we'll use the theater district as an example, but let's say it's a very important section. And it means a lot, right? So you might want to boost the label up, make it important, right? So decorating the label means maybe going into Fantasy World and picking a stamp that's flat facing, and then maybe using it to represent a location on the map, right? So if you want, you can throw a flat facing stamp, take it back a layer, put it up top like this, and this is how you further decorate your places. So if this is a really important place, you can go ahead and just, well, let's actually go back and change it to a yellowish color. I don't know, let's go through the various colors here. Maybe red would look nice. Let's go with that color, okay? And of course you're gonna wanna group this and make sure it's a layer above everything. And so you could say this is your theater district, and you've decorated it to give it, maybe this is the theater right here, just for fun, okay? Now the next thing that you might want to do is you'll notice that the banner looks like it doesn't have much to distinguish it from the ground texture and the stamps behind it. So the next step from there is you might want to consider adding in some shadows to make it pop out. So if I throw in an object shadow and throw in, make it black, make it dark, make it pop out, like this, make it fairly dark, and drop it down a little bit like this, okay? Now what this will do is it will allow you to make the banner pop out. You notice how the black underneath, it's that ambient occlusion again to make it pop out, right? And of course, if you want, you can throw in that same object shadow right here on this same stamp if you want it to pop out. So just choose that black texture, black color, go like this. Let's make the shadow fairly large, and let's take it up instead of back, okay? Right there like this. Now when I apply it, if I add it to it, you're gonna notice those shadows allow that banner to really pop out, okay? So this is one way that you can label things, right? It's just one way. You can just use plain text without banners. It really depends on your layout and how much room you have. If it's a very small scale and there's just everything's cram packed together, perhaps this style of labeling won't work for you. So another method is to try just using text, right? So if I want to put theater district, let's say I want to try a different method, a distract, distract. I'm trying to distract you here. It's a theater. You guys want to go to the theater district with me? I love the theater district. Not to be associated with the ether district, okay? So one thing you can do is, because there's going to be a lot of line work, you see how black doesn't seem to work so well? Think about contrast, right? So you can go in and change the color of your text to a white against this dark area that seems to fit more. You can also have it being rotating around, so you can change the curvature if you want to make it go against like this. So we're going in a theater district. Let's do a little bit more curvature here. If you want, you can throw in a little more curvature like this, and this can show and represent that this is a theater district. That's another way that you can go about doing it. You can even change a bit of the opacity so it doesn't pop out so much. So there's all these different ways that you can label your map. If you don't want to do the whole curved text, you can always do just, let me go in real quick. You can go with just flat curves. So let me go in here with no curvature whatsoever, and let me add in this. Let's change that line height. Real quick about line height. This line height thing, I don't know if it pops up or not. Let me double check. Oh, no, it is still there. Excellent. Perfect. So you can go in like this and just make it like that. If you want it to pop out more, you can add an outline. So there's a black outline like this, and you can change the outline thickness if you want to make sure that it really pops out. So there you have that way. So there's a lot of different ways that you can label your districts, but it's going to vary depending on how much room that you have to work with. So always kind of factor that in, right? If you have enough room, go ahead and throw in more complex, more beautiful, more intricate labels. If not, then just go with straight text. It really just depends on what you're going for, okay? It's really as simple as that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save and call it good. I can do a quick Q&A. If people have any questions, feel free to ask, and then I'll go ahead and take my lunch. Yeah, all right, question time. Ask me anything. Ask me anything. My favorite color is blue, just letting you know, just in case you have that question. Yeah, if people have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do a quick 5-10 minute Q&A, answer any questions that people have. Make them relatively, related to cities, or not. Make it entirely something else. Up to you. Well, we did 2. I'm glad that we did 2 because these do take a lot of time, unfortunately. As you know, cities are not short. They are time consuming. Yeah, how do you copy these POIs into a larger city? Bazooga to you, we don't have that option yet, but don't worry, it is on the to-do list. So yay, it's been highly requested. Everybody wants the group to stamp option and to be able to push them across stiles or across maps. So don't you worry, that's on our to-do list. We'll totally be adding that. So super excited about that. Yay. Oopsie, I'm dropping things. Sorry about that. So that's on our to-do list, so look forward to that. It is the most upvoted request of all requests. The request of requests. Mon ami. Okay. All right, so let's talk about next week because there's not a lot of questions. Let's go with what's going on next week. On the Monday the 16th, Map Makeover Part 2, we're doing Veneria. Okay, I'm excited about that. Hopefully we can finish that map. If not, we'll make it a 3-parter. And of course, on Wednesday the 18th, we've got How to Create Burning Villages. For all of you pyros out there, this is going to be the stream for you. It's time to light some shit on fire. Light it up! Light it up! All right, so hey, next stream or following stream, that's the 18th. We're going to catch some stuff on fire. Burn, baby, burn! All right, well, if there is no questions, folks, I will bid you adieu. I am looking forward to the next streams to come. The following week, too, that's going to be 22 to the 28th. We do have political maps on the 23rd. How to create rivers with the fantasy world style on the 25th. And, of course, this one's highly popular and requested. How to create mountain ranges with all the styles. So, and that might include a little bit of science. I don't really know. Might include some fault lines, some subduction conversation. And of course, if anyone is familiar with plate tectonics, feel free to speak up. So yeah, we got some fun stuff. And there's a lot of different ways to do rivers, path tools. You can paint it, all kinds of fun stuff. So we'll go over all of that during that stream. All right, folks, you've been awesome. Thanks for laughing with me. I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week. So please, all of you, please stay safe and healthy. Pray that the weekend comes sooner, because you know it doesn't come any sooner, of course. And remember, please stay safe and healthy, and merry map making, all right? Thank you, everyone, and I will see you all very, very soon. Auf Wiedersehen. Cheerio. Goodbye. See ya, everybody.